18th, 2019 meeting of the North Brookfield School Committee. This meeting is being recorded by the North Brookfield LPAC. If there's anyone present who is also recording this meeting, please raise your hand so others are aware. Okay, so moving on to recognition, Mr. Lynn has a number of people he wants to recognize.
Yeah, I just would like to recognize Mr. Evans, Mr. Glacier, and Mrs. Dubuque, our three administrators who are moving on. Monique is returning to the classroom here in North Brookfield. Served for the year as our student service director and did a fabulous job, and her work is much appreciated. Mr. Evans is also moving on after 7 years at the junior senior high, and again, his work and relationships that he built over the years with the staff and students and families at the junior senior high is excellent, and I just want to say thank you for everything you did for them over that time. And Mr. Glacier is also moving on after 3 years at the elementary school. Again, built wonderful relationships, worked really hard at a lot of different initiatives, specifically continuing on with the Readers and Writers Workshop. And we've seen some great growth in that area. So each of those three administrators I truly appreciate. I know the other administrators, Jean and Marty and Cindy, also appreciate their hard work as an administrative team. So thank you.
Thank you.
Just
thank you.
on behalf of the on behalf of the school committee, thank you, those two of you that are here, and also to Mr. Glacier. You know, in my school career with my children, I have grown to appreciate how hard you all work and how demanding really being an educator and school administrator is, and appreciate all the time and effort you guys all put in. So good luck with what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Cameron, tell us what's going on.
Your first go at it, Cam.
This is my first go at it, yeah. So the first thing that we did since the last meeting was junior conference, which is where we have some of the 6th graders come over to the high school and kind of show them what Stuco is all about and try to get them to join. And we all think it went pretty well, because most of our surveys that came back were really positive, and we look forward to continuing it in the future. We also had the high school field day, which went very well as well, and we got lots of positive feedback from that. We got some critical feedback that we're gonna, use to make next year a lot better and just keep making it smoother as the years go by. We seem to, really get better at it. We also had our lock-in, which it's kind of like a bonding thing that we invite like as many Stuco members as we can to the school. We sleep over there. We do workshops all night. There's free time, but we try our best to make sure that every kid learns at least one lesson from that night to take into both Stuco and their future. We also introduced something this year called the Teacher of the Year Award, which we all just thought, why not recognize a teacher who's put in a lot of hard work. And we knew that Mrs. Hansen had done a lot of fundraising for the school, so we recognized her at the high school award ceremony. We also got some gifts for Mr. Evans, as he is, leaving us after his 7 years with the school, and we just wanted to show our appreciation as he's cooperated with us over the years. And not many principals might do that, and he did. We're also taking over something that Mr. Evans has started doing, which is 7th grade orientation, which I believe right now is the Friday before school starts, which I believe is August 23rd. So we're gonna try to take his, baby and turn it into a toddler. We're gonna take his ideas and put some of our own in. And we're also just we're trying to get an early start this year, so we already have chairs for a lot of events that are gonna start next year, like the breast cancer walk and 7th grade orientation. We're getting ready and starting to plan that right away, because we want things like homecoming and whatnot to go smoothly. And we just wanted to thank all of you for your cooperation this year, and that's all I really have.
Thank you. Thank you.
I did hear about the junior conference, and my son thanks you for his camouflage bandana.
Oh, yeah?
I really like that a lot. And congratulations to Mrs. Sampson, didn't hear that about her award.
Well, yeah, it was kind of like we just were in our meeting and we thought that'd be a really nice thing to do, you know, start a tradition to recognize a teacher who's put in a lot of hard work for our school. And we knew that she's done a ton of fundraising and not a lot has been said about it, so we thought why not, you know, we gave her a certificate inside like a frame and stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well done.
And how are you gonna let parents know about the orientation and the kids know about the
I think we're still talking about that right now.
I'm sure the new principal will help out with that.
Yeah, we need to meet the new principal, yeah. That's a big thing too.
Facebook
Yeah.
is also.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're right, Facebook, yep. I'll take those ideas back to the other board
The old
members.
people use Facebook. I know you guys.
The parents of the incoming
Right.
summer.
That's who's important. We don't
We'll
wanna
be
let
driving and dropping them off.
we don't wanna let the kids know, we wanna let the parents know.
Well, both
Come
of
see
you.
me when you guys have some ideas or thoughts and I can help.
Okay, I'll let them know
Make sure
that.
it gets out there.
I'll make sure that gets to them.
Super.
Thanks a lot, Cam.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good first job.
Thank you.
So we have our school committee meeting, school committee minutes from our last meeting. Does anyone have any comments on them? If not, then we need to approve them.
I make a motion to approve the school committee regular meeting minutes of the May 20th, 2019 meeting.
I second. All in favor? Thanks. So we don't have any correspondence, I believe. We have no presentations, and there is public participation. Mr. Rigby.
Hi, I'm Rich Rigney. I'm the Professional Rights and Responsibilities Chair of Union. I came to talk about two issues important to the teachers. One, obviously, is the budget, and two is staff safety. Obviously, we've settled the contract fairly, and we're happy with that, but the budget cuts that have been put forward have inordinately affected the high school, and the junior-senior high school. And I want to point out some of the things that are going to be happening because of those cuts. We've lost a total of 2 staff collectively at the high school, which means, if I'm not mistaken, we have 2 history teachers who will be teaching, with high school certifications, who will be teaching middle school classes in the fall. 2 classes each for junior high. I personally have a class of, an English class in the mid-30s, which is unheard of at Brookfield. I think the highest I've ever had in my 24 years here is 28. We had a math teacher who was informed he'd be teaching 6 classes over 5 periods. He'd have 2 classes of 2 different subjects jammed into one classroom over 1 period of time. And the point of that would all be helped through this program we have called Edgenuity. We started it this year. We piloted it this year. It was piloted by 4 or 5 teachers with a number of students. I was one of the teachers who piloted it when that came in halfway through the program. And through the program, it was never really, there's no feedback asked for by the staff or students or parents, as far as I know, about whether it was effective or not, and yet we re-upped it for $16,000 to make these classes easier. So I assume this one program will help me teach 36 students at the same time. I'm not sure how that's going to happen effectively. I can't imagine any program would do that. So we're really concerned about those things. And in fact, the math teacher who is supposed to be teaching 6 classes in the 5 periods has actually resigned as of Friday, and I want to just briefly read his resignation. It's short. I thoroughly enjoyed my time here and am heartbroken to leave. I moved to town recently and envisioned myself spending my entire career here. However, in light of recent budget cuts and scheduling decisions that negatively affected both staff and students, and the unilateral way those decisions have been made, I feel I have no choice but to accept an offer that was extended to me to teach in another district. So again, a lot of these decisions were made top-down, and they directly impact the students at the high school. So what we're asking is that the school committee ask the superintendent to look at the budget again, find other places. We have new central staff that was hired this year, a position that didn't exist last year. We have new administration that's been brought in the past 2 years. Those are all places that would cut the budget and yet not affect the students directly, as cutting these 2 teachers have. So that's certainly one thing we're asking the school committee. Second thing we're concerned about is staff safety. There's issues in our Connect program at the high school. A number of staff, including teachers and paraprofessionals, have been injured in numerous incidents during the past year. In fact, one of the teachers, the lead teachers in the program, was injured and is not serving out the rest of the year. She missed the last 2 weeks of school due to her injuries. And she also has resigned as of today. And again, one of her points out she resigned because she was concerned about her safety and growing safety concerns in the program. So she found it, get offered a position in another district and is taking that. So we're losing staff. We put time and money into, training into. It's affecting the students. It's affecting staff morale. So it's something we're really asking the school committee to look into and help out in that situation.
Thanks for coming and sharing your concerns, Mr. Rigney.
Thank
We'll
you.
certainly take those into consideration. I just want to point out that the school committee has spent the last 4 months, right, working very, very hard, trying to raise awareness about the Chapter 70 fund updates that will be hopefully done maybe FY21.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah.
As well as specifically for North Brookfield, trying to raise awareness of North Brookfield to become considered part of rural schools, which we are not currently. We don't currently get any money from the rural aid packages that was passed last year, and that this year the Senate has passed. Whether or not that's included in the budget next year, I don't know. But what else did you want to
No,
say?
I was just gonna reiterate Maria's point, and I think school committee is also very concerned at our budget constraints. We tried to get out in front as much as possible, and we appreciate your coming here and sharing with us the specific impact. I also really hope that moving forward, school committee and the association can continue to work together to raise awareness about the budget, particularly as it relates to legislation that's coming down the pike. So yeah, I think we're on the same page when it comes to concerns about the lack of funding. So, would you say anything else?
No, I mean, I think, that we've spent a great amount of time on that particular issue, and we've also, urged community members, and we urge staff members, not only to contact their legislatures and their state representatives, but also to attend town meeting and, let our town community and our select board understand the concerns that we have about budget for our school, so.
May I ask a question? I'm new, so I don't know what's okay to ask and what's not. But my son goes to the senior high and has come home almost every other day for the last couple weeks with so-and-so's leaving, so-and-so's leaving. Where are we at? Because I know in the budget that we passed, it said that we would have to cut 2 positions. And I don't know, other than from a 12-year-old, but I think that above and beyond those 2, are we down 3 others that we've lost through attrition? And does that mean that we can consider bringing people back? Like, and I don't need to know names, and I'm just wondering
So,
how that works.
So we reorganized the positions. We had some natural attrition, and we reorganized, as Mr. Brickney said, into 2 positions from 4. Basically, 1 in each core subject area. 1 English language arts, 1 math, 1 science, 1 history. Those were the 4 positions, and we reorganized that into 2 positions, a math science and a history language arts position. In terms of other changes, we have 2 special educators, we have a math teacher. I think that's current.
So we backfill those, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
we've
From out of the
posted and
district, okay.
advertised, and certainly we had 1 teacher that we had to lay off, and if that teacher has the appropriate licensure, we have in our contract a recall process.
Okay.
So that person, if they are eligible for any available jobs, we send that to them, and they automatically become, if they apply and they have the right certification, they get it automatically. There's a
Okay.
recall rights process. Not sure what to call it other than that. And that's how that would happen.
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, just curious, cause, you know, he's 12. He doesn't tell me
Not
it.
right.
Alright.
I think Mr. Lind had also, you had, I think, maybe gotten elected like 2 days before, but it is something that also,
Yeah.
that we can meet with them privately if you have any further questions.
Oh, I always have questions.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah, there you
nightmare.
go.
I'm sorry, I should carry post-its
alright.
around and just put my
Mr.
questions
Lind
up.
is always available, are you not?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, once again, thank you, Mr. Rigney, for bringing this to our attention. Moving on to the, we have no school committee reports unless Elizabeth, did you want to say anything more about? Well, actually, you know what, why don't you mention just specifically the stuff with the chapter 70, the potential for in the fall being updated?
Yes. So currently, the Joint Committee on Education is working to reconcile a whole wide range of bills that were submitted. And so, what's been covered a lot in the news media is how the governor's budget compares specifically with the Promise Act, which was the Senate proposal. But then on top of that, there are many, many, many bills, one of which addresses the rurality component that we've been trying to raise awareness about. I actually saw Senator Goby 2 nights ago. Their hope is to have some sort of bill that comes out of this by the end of June. It may be a little later than that, but probably by late summer, early fall, they'll be looking to vote on something. Whatever gets decided would not go into effect until fiscal year 2021. So we're still encouraging people to contact their legislators. And you know, even though, and Senator Goby also said that the Committee on Education is actually being pretty quiet about what they're discussing, so there's not a whole lot of news about what's going on in those discussions. But I think it's really important that people reach out to their senator and their representative, North Brookfield, that's Senator Goby, and Representative Berthium, and just encourage them not only to vote on the bill, but there will also be a number of amendments, we're sure, that get attached to whatever comes out. And we just want as much money as possible for North Brookfield. Does that cover it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the more we speak out, maybe they'll remember.
Yeah,
North
we were
Brookfield.
at town meeting with another letter that's similar to the ones that we've had in the past, but sort of an abridged one that really also stressed the importance of having North Brookfield fall within the population, fall low enough under the population threshold so as to qualify as rural. Because in last year's round of rural school aid, that gave us, you know, a chunk of money to certain school districts, but we did not qualify, and so we're looking for an expanded definition of rural.
And I mean, you know, just to point out why we didn't qualify, we had, what, 6 kids?
Yeah, I mean, we were just 6 kids over the threshold.
Right.
We qualify from a financial point of view.
So the way they figured it out last year was a population density.
Yeah.
How many students per
Yeah.
square mile? And I think they settled on 21
21.
students per
We
square
were
mile. And we
27.
were like 26 last year. We might be 27 this year.
Mhm.
But that's one small aspect of
Right.
rural, sort of the rural definition is population density. That's the only one they used.
Well, and the
Yeah.
income,
Right.
yeah,
So, that's just
yeah,
really important for us.
yeah.
So please, don't be shy. They like hearing from their constituents. They do.
That's their job.
Yep. All right, moving on, financial reports.
All right, so we are heading down to the end here. In the signature package, I know, a couple of folks signed this, but not everybody's, actually saw it. I would encourage you to look at this before it goes. This is the balancing between line items that you see in this report. So when you see a negative balance in this report that we spent 101% of an account, we overspent. So we have to get that money from somewhere else, and we take it from where we underspent. Don't forget, this is budgeted money, so we're estimating it's gonna cost us, $20 for pencils, and we spend 17, there's $3 left in that account. But if we wanna spend $20 on a races, but we only put $10 in the account, there's a lot of balancing at the end that needs to happen. So there's $138,213 that are moving between lines from this sheet, and Sheila outlines them here for you to review. But essentially, that's what we're doing is, these places where you see we spent a greater percentage than 100 means we overspent in that line, and other places where we underspent. So this is very typical and common to sort of come down to the end, because all of our budgeting is really estimated, and it's based on the need at the time, and sometimes the needs change midstream or during the year at some point. So we might have to spend more than we anticipated on whatever it might be. And we might spend less in another area, and that's this back and forth that we do. So we are in excellent shape to make that all balance out at the end of the year. We do have some ability to get ahead a little bit of next year in some areas, so we are doing that as well. Hopefully it supports what we need to do and gets us where we need to be. But the end of this year is closing out nicely, and we are on track for the June 30th closeout, even though it's only, whatever it is, 2 weeks away. In terms of the other report that you have, that's the revolving accounts, each is listed separately. Those accounts are looking are in good shape in terms of their balances from what they should be at the end of a year. Again, many of these we use as offsets for next year's budget. So if you go down, on the first page, the fourth one down is school choice. There is money that's in there that is already spent, even though there's a balance of $900,000. We already have $400,000 of that spent for next year. That's like built into our budget. So it's not all like, oh, we have a lot of money. We don't. It's all being spent based on what we've done. Same thing with circuit breaker just below that. That's money that's already in the budget to be spent. As is the AM revolving account, the athletic fees. Preschool revolving is used for that. So there's a lot of use for this. Some of the other ones are ongoing, like our gift accounts. We get money from PTO or other places, and the leaders of those. So if there's an art or a band or music, those teachers have access to it. Our librarian here. So as that money comes in, if they find they want to or need to buy something, they can often tap into that. The summer school account obviously helps pay for summer school. So there's a lot of different things that are coming in and going out and are in pretty good shape, well, very good shape. A couple things to point to you: the elementary roof project is closing out. We are heading towards the end on that.
So we're gonna do our ribbon cutting.
We can do it anytime. August sounds good to me. But again, that will be something that disappears once it closes out. You can see the sped stabilization account, we've been drawing that down. Another request tonight, and I think it may be one more bill to close out the end of the year, I'm not positive. So there will be a balance left in that from before. Our grants, some of the grants are from, if they're from FY18, they're closing out at the end of this year. They're for 18 and 19. 19 grants go for this year into next year. Those federal grants are 2 years, you can spend over 2 years. So that's what varies it a little. It's very challenging to sort of figure out exactly where they are at any one time. So, and our cafeteria continues to look very positive. So,
Awesome job by those ladies, by
Yeah.
Diana.
a really, really nice job. And then we'll catch up with that later in the agenda as well.
Okay,
Questions?
anyone got any questions?
I have a lot of questions, but I'll just meet with him one-on-one.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, there's nothing to be sorry about.
Just the big
Questions are good.
swings, I assume they're anomalies.
The what?
So, the big swings, you know, like somebody's out, so,
Yeah, sometimes it's a salary differential, someone goes out on medical leave, say, and we hire a sub, those are two different buckets. The salary versus a sub account,
Sure.
or, you know, we have a student that needs services that we didn't anticipate needing services can really throw it off. One that we ran into this year was homeless transportation. It's just unpredictable.
Sure.
If a student or students might need that service that we're required to provide. And if we run into that, we have to provide it, we're gonna spend more than we budgeted, which means we have to find it in other places.
okay,
So
no worries.
that's often what you'll see in those big, yeah.
All right, superintendent's report.
So we had town meeting, there were really two results for us. One is we submitted a warrant for the special town meeting to help us with the phone system here, which was approved. We are still waiting on the grant. They ran into a pretty big challenge at the state level when they received, I think, about 142 applications. It set them back in the review. And then the review, as they wrapped up, they realized districts won't be able to spend this money by the time the fiscal year gets done. So they had to seek, I don't know whether it's legal advice or some way of making sure this grant, because it's taking the form of a grant, can cross over fiscal year lines. So once they work all that out, they'll be informing districts. We don't know yet. We're in the running. I spoke to Kevin Stanton, who is the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security Liaison for this grant program. He said the governor is gonna make a big deal out of this in terms of announcing it, so can't tell anybody, even if he knew. He said he didn't. So we'll know when the governor steps to the podium in some way and says, we're giving money to cities and towns and school districts for these initiatives.
Well, fingers crossed.
Hopefully sooner rather than later, and anything we get in a grant will reduce the amount we actually have to spend from the town meeting vote. But that's the first outcome. The second was that the town approved our budget, which translates to a $120,272 increase over FY19, which translates to 2%. So we appreciate the town's approving an increase. As I said at town meeting, and I'll say here, I really believe that at a minimum, school districts need 2.5% per year to maintain a level service. Without that, year in and year out, you can't do 2.5% this year and then 1% next year and then 2.5% the year after and go, we're making it. No, that 1% causes you to fall behind. And that's what's happened in our district over the years. The last 6 years, our school district has averaged about 1.17% increase. About half of what I think we need to maintain a level service. And it multiplies, eventually it catches up.
So the letter that you wrote to the select board and the finance committee, you've sent that to them,
Sent
right?
that to them.
Would are you, something that you would share
Yeah, I
on
can definitely share.
Facebook? I think
I will do that.
worth letting people know.
But all that aside, I think we're very appreciative of the town because we did have a town meeting in January where funds were approved that helped our budget. Last year, we got 2.5% Metaphone system approval, so the town has been very supportive. And I think the state is where the funding has sort of dropped the ball. And there are towns out there that can make up the difference because they have commercial property, they have, you know, people who are, who have financial means. Our town is, you know, a blue-collar town and isn't going to be able to just, you know, have a donator come up with, you know, a shortfall for all the town departments. That's just not our DNA, like many towns in Central Mass. We're not alone with this.
Well, I think it's not just Central Mass. I mean, you know, it's even the towns. I mean, you wouldn't think Newburyport as a town that is struggling with this, but when we went to that hearing, there was the mayor of Newburyport was there, and she was talking about, you know, the charter schools and, you know, having to raise, you know, taxes 2.5% every year, vote on overrides every year. It's just not sustainable.
Well, it's nationwide too. When we go home to visit friends
Yeah.
in California,
Yep.
they're complaining about the same thing.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Something's gotta change.
well, they're talking about it, and that's why the advocacy is so important. Right?
Yeah.
Like, the end, the squeaky wheel. What's your Dr. Seuss quote?
We're here. We're here. We're here. I can't remember the
Let 'em
rest
hear
of it.
ya. Let 'em hear ya.
Yep.
So again, we appreciate the town's support with that. Second part is end of the year activities. There were just, and continue to be, a million things going on. Cam talked about a lot of them at the junior, senior high, although some of them, not even a lot of them. Some of them from a Stuco perspective, but there were so many at the junior, senior high, and there are so many here as well that have happened. Today we had the field day for the elementary schools, a lot of fun, kids had a great time, well planned. Thank you to all the people who put together and volunteered, not just the field day, but all the other things that went on, from chaperone field trips to awards assemblies and just a million things that went on. It was just nonstop. It was great. Everything went really well, from all those end of the year activities. Graduation was wonderful. So it was just a really nice end of the year. A couple more days for the elementary school. Our junior, senior high wrapped up today. Day and a half, sorry, I'll be specific. Day and a half left for the elementary school. So, yeah, it'll be hopefully the last day and a half will be just as good as the last month or so of end of the year activities that have come and gone. And again, thank you to everyone that helped out in any way. Attending, volunteering, setting up, cleanup, whatever it might have been, thank you for participating. Kids appreciate it and had a lot of fun with many of those activities.
I wanna say one thing specifically, which is you know, a big part of my job is I host field trips that come and visit me at the Quabbras where I work, and that's a big part of my entire job career for many years, and I love field trips, and when my son started, the elementary school did not go on field trips. Part of that probably had a lot to do with the cost of busing, so since the PTO has been able to take on funding part of the bus money, every grade that wants to go on a field trip has been able to go on a field trip every year, and that, for me, that's a wonderful thing, because I love field trips personally. And so all of the parents that, you know, you do all that fundraising, and the board of the PTO that volunteers their time to, and one of those wonderful things that are our elementary school kids all get to go on a field trip if their class chooses to go on one, so. And it makes me happy. Thank you, everyone.
Good. Next thing is just an update on the junior, senior high school interim principal search process. We have a committee. We've met last week and put together and sort of reviewed where we're at and how we're moving forward. We have a number of candidates coming in over the next couple of days, Tuesday and Thursday. We're conducting interviews. Obviously, there's a sort of a process for that committee to recommend to go to the next step or not, depending on, you if the committee interviews and then deliberates and finds viable candidates they feel would be a good interim principal for the junior senior high, they'll forward them on to me, and I will meet with those candidates next week to move forward in the process, hopefully resulting in the selection of an interim principal. If the committee decides there's not a viable candidate, we'll have to go back and look at the applications we've received and/or repost. I hope that doesn't happen. Obviously, the reason we're in an interim principal position is just the timing, and the time of year, at the end of the year here, to try to get someone in place as quickly as possible. The goal would be for the next school year that we would conduct a full search process beginning in the late fall, early winter. A full search usually runs 2.5 months from start to finish. So if we started in that late fall, early winter, that'll bring us through to say mid to late winter, but we'll be ahead of other districts in the search process, which means the pool will be deep with candidates, hopefully. So just that's the update, and my hope is if there is a viable interim principal candidate in our mix over the next few days, I hope this by midweek next week we'll be moving towards a contract offer. So. And then lastly, just as an FYI and a heads up, I have a teacher who has forwarded some information to me about the idea of a foreign trip. I believe they're looking at probably next April vacation. They're looking at a tour through EF Tours, which is a big tour company that works with lots of schools. In my prior districts, I've worked with them before. I know many schools have. And they are looking at a tour to Greece and Italy. They are in the beginning stages. This has been a conversation between the teacher and some students. Students who are interested. It would be focused on juniors and seniors. I have forwarded him the school committee policy on field trips, which includes a foreign trip thing, and went over it with him and told him, there's things you have to do to be able to move this forward. And a foreign trip, many schools have already planned, fundraising and approvals. So he's going to be working this summer to see if he can make it happen from his end. If he can, we'll have it for you on your agenda at an upcoming meeting, and I'll keep you informed if that's going to happen. I think it would be wonderful if we could offer it. They are very expensive. My son's school is going to Eastern Europe. He has signed up. It's over $3,000. So, in terms of fundraising, kids and the program needs time to do that. There's no, it's hard to have scholarships for something like this. It really comes down to fundraising. So.
Starting a little late for the fundraising, to be honest with you, but
They are.
I'm
They
sure
are.
they'll get it done.
But they'll do what they can. The kids are very interested.
Great. Yep, that's
We used to go every April somewhere. I remember my neighbor's kids used to do it. Did that stop
I
somewhere?
think foreign language has done trips in the past. Rich is here. I don't want to put him in tough bills here too. So
Yeah, there's been,
foreign language.
there's
has
been
done some
trips to France and
Mm,
Spain
Spain.
has happened in the past as well.
Through foreign language mostly. Though,
Yep.
Is my understanding.
Yeah, it's always about the numbers. Well, Kristen did a trip to France, I would say about 5 or 6 years ago. I think that's the most recent
Yeah.
trip.
Years and years ago, a couple teachers would take kids to different places.
Yeah.
That was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I don't know.
Well, I
Um,
think
Because
cost-
So
Laura
it's-
would
cost of
take
it.
Yeah, it's
kids
about
to, like,
the
Spain
numbers.
and
It's-
stuff. I remember
Spain,
my
France,
classmates
yeah,
going to
probably, but it
Spain,
was sort
yeah.
of this group would go to different countries, Ireland
Yeah.
or wherever, just for.
I also
Mhm.
talked to the teacher about contacting other schools in our area to
Yeah.
see if they're doing one.
Right.
If they are, to contact them and say, you know, is there any way to expand your trip to include us if we don't have the numbers? Because that helps them too. They have more
Yeah.
kids, they can be benefited. But in your packet is the information from EF tours. I also put in the school committee policy on field trips. And I think whatever it is, the third or fourth or fifth page of the policy, it's the fourth page, fifth page, sixth page. There's a section number 4 on foreign trips. So just to refresh or inform you about what they need to do. So that's it. Any questions?
Nope.
Don't worry, we're in sync.
Okay,
It's all good.
go ahead, Mr. Evans, with your report.
Thank you. Jean's gonna help me with them.
Oh, all right, okay. Oh,
Portion
we got
of
something
mine.
fancy going on, cool.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'd like to just start off by acknowledging graduation on June 2nd. 35 students received their North Brookfield High School diploma. Wanted to offer special thanks to all the faculty and staff that had a hand in getting the students to that finish line, and to everyone that was involved in the ceremony. It's a very long list. I did it at graduation. We don't have to do it again here, but it's a wonderful event, and a lot of people work hard to make it happen. So thank you to everybody, and congratulations to our graduates. MCAS is done for the year as of last week. The last absent student made up biology exams as of last week. So I want to thank Meg Steers and Cindy O'Hara in particular for their hard work. Meg as the MCAS coordinator, and Cindy in her role as tech coordinator, which is obviously much more involved in MCAS now with the online testing. So they both do a great job, and everything went off without a hitch. As we prepare for summer, the things that we will be, that the staff at the junior senior high school will be working on. First is the student schedules, making sure that they are ready for opening day. We obviously had to hold off, waiting on outcomes of the budget to know exactly what the schedule would look like. We feel like we have some firm ground on that, and we'll start inputting information into the system and having schedules ready by the start of school. And Cam mentioned 7th grade orientation. I'm glad he had a date for that because I couldn't find one, but that sounds like a good one, Friday before everybody reports. Just to go back to the question about who we need to hire, my list includes a principal, a high school science teacher, a middle school humanities teacher, 2 special ed teachers, and a high school math teacher. I think that sounds right. And some of that is, again, nutrition, some of it is nutrition, and some of it is or people that have moved on, some of it is resignations, recent resignations, but I think that's the full list of positions that need to be filled. So the last thing on my agenda was our senior internship presentations, which is why Ms. Powers scurried up there. During the week leading up to graduation, 11 seniors delivered presentations on what they learned during their internships. It's always a fabulous time to listen to the work that they did and their enthusiasm and excitement for it. Jean was kind enough to create a visual record of their work. So we're going to watch all of their presentations in their entirety from start to finish. Isn't that correct, Ms. Powers? So settle in, get some popcorn. Now, this is obviously a 3-minute presentation that just sort of highlights some of the stuff that they did for us. So, Jean, take it away.
Hi, I'm Aaron Testa. I just finished my internship at Holden Community Access Television. I was in charge of doing all sorts of different things. I ran cameras, I made slides to run on the carousel on TV, and I even directed some of the events down in Holden. It was a great experience, and I'm glad I got to do it.
internship at the North Brookfield local public access cable. It's right in the elementary school basement underneath there. So some things I'm going to answer is what is audio network, how to operate and use advanced audio mixers, digital mixers instead of analog, because we've improved over the quite a while.
Hi, my name is Riley Lammy. I interned at Clem's and I learned how the store worked.
The reason why I chose science is because I personally love science. Mr. Senator had us in 7th grade, and so I said to everyone in the class, do science, do science, do science. So I found like a genuine love for science itself, and I think that it's pretty cool that science involves everything. Like it involves English, because you have to be able to report on your findings. It uses math, like physics.
I'm Sam Ricchitelli, and I'm a senior here at North Brookfield. And I decided to do my internship at East Brookfield Elementary School with preschoolers. I've always had an interest working with little kids, helping them learn, seeing like their growth and their progress. So I was able to get a lot out of it, see how the teachers did certain methods that I can retain in the future, and yeah, it went really well.
Thank you, Jean.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing that, that's really neat.
Yeah, it's a, I can't say enough about the positive outcomes from this program. Kids, I have not had a kid say, I wish I'd stayed in school for the last 3 months instead of doing, or the last quarter of the year instead of doing an internship. So lastly, just I want to thank everybody in the community for helping making the last 7 years a really terrific experience. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
So Mr. Clay was unable to be here tonight, but submitted his report, and he just wanted to, again, thank the PTO to help with field trips, as Tucker mentioned earlier. We had classrooms or grade levels travel to Phoenix Farm, Quabbin, Animal Adventures, the Ecotarium, Great Falls Discovery Center, down in the center of town to the townhouse and the library. Just lots of great stuff happening, lots of great learning happening in different places around our area. So that was great. Tomorrow, students will be participating in a step-up day here at the elementary school. That will be grade to grade. So every student here will have an opportunity to sort of start to get an understanding of what next year will be like, whether they're going from first to second or third to fourth or whatever. So I think this is the first time we're doing it for every grade. So it'll be a learning experience, and we'll have to evaluate, how did it go. But I think the idea, we're on the right path with that, so to help transition from year to year. Again, field day was today. It was awesome. Thanks to Ms. LaBelle and all the volunteers. Thanks to the kids for the color run, because I got covered, along with a bunch of other volunteers who are up here, and a bunch of volunteers who set it up got covered.
Yeah, it's our annual box tops challenge, so Mr. Lind and the chief of police and a whole bunch of staff ran the gauntlet of kids throwing colored powder on it as a congratulations for the elementary school raising more than 15,503 box tops. So that's the equivalent of $1,500, which we won't get all of it this academic year, so the next check will come in November, but that is a considerable amount of money, actually.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, box tops is going digital, so I'm not entirely sure how that's gonna work, but we'll figure it out. So we'll come up with something good for you to do. Yep.
And this annual summer reading kickoff was held last week. It was a great success. It was a lot of fun. I got a book. It was great. Read Badge of Courage. Haven't read it in 40 years. And look forward to reading it this summer.
Cool. Awesome.
So, yeah, and I saw kids with, I don't know, 20 or 30 books. I saw kids with one, and I saw adults with many books, and I saw adults with one. It was great. So thanks to all of the folks who really worked so hard at that. Mrs. Pratt and Mrs. Simpson seemed to do a great deal of work for that in terms of collecting and organizing books into genres and levels and all sorts of stuff.
And it's all donation,
Yeah.
all donated books.
So we'll be asking again, we're gonna save those books, and next year we'll be saying, send those books in and send them in. We can recycle them and get them to, kids who, if your kids are done with them, who may enjoy them. Or if you're done with books, there are adult tables too, so that's great. And just a reminder that the last day for students is the 19th, a day and a half, it's a half day, so early dismissal. And that'll do it. Mr. Glazier just wanted to say thank you for his time here.
Mrs. Dubuque?
Hi. So I just wanted to start off by inviting parents to join the SPED Pack. The SPED Pack meets the first Wednesday of the month at 6:30 here in the elementary school cafeteria. Basically, the purpose of the SPED Pack is for parents to be able to advise the North Brookfield Public Schools on matters that pertain to the education and safety of students with disabilities, meet regularly with school officials to participate in the planning, development, and evaluation of the school district's special education programs, and to advocate for the appropriate supports and special education services necessary to meet individual needs for students with disabilities. So again, it's a nice support group. It's a nice opportunity to have some input in some school decisions. So the SPED Pack welcomes anyone who would like to join in on that.
They also do a lot of great events for the school community too.
They do, yes. There's a subcommittee of the SPED Pack, which is called Team Pack, and they do a lot of fundraising and events like the school dances, lots of little fun get-togethers, some Halloween trunk or treats, some really great community building activities. The last IEP progress reports for the year will be coming out soon, so be watching for those. The preschool classes are filling up quickly, so if you have a child who will be 3 by August 31st, please contact the Student Services Office to schedule the enrollment for your son or daughter. We are offering 5 days a week, 2 half-day sessions, and as well as the full-day sessions. The extended school year program is being finalized. That will begin on July 9th. We're wrapping up hiring staff for that, so that's pretty much ready to go. And then just some end of the year transition, organization, ending the year with some meetings, some file maintenance, and just kind of preparing notes and transition to pass on to Mark. We are entering into school monitoring for next year as part of a tiered focus review. So it used to be every 6 years, and now they've broken it up into every 3 years into 2 sections. So I've been doing a lot of the prep work to prepare for the state to come in next year and start that review. So it's basically a review of all the policies that are in place, all of the things that we do for community outreach, kind of all of those pieces. So I've been gathering those documents and preparing for them to come in to look at that. And then just all of the end of the year data reports and maintenance stuff that I've been working on. Other than that, I want to thank everyone for a really wonderful year. It's been really supportive and a lot of fun. And I wish everyone a really great summer vacation.
Likewise.
Mrs. Powers.
Thank you.
So I wanted to add on to what Mr. Lin was saying about the Step Up program tomorrow at the elementary school. The fun thing about the experience, other than going to see the next year's classroom, is the students get to book shop. So they all have a gallon baggie where they pick out their books for the fall. So when they come back, they've already selected books that they're ready to read with their new teacher in the fall. So it's really cool. They get to go into the next grade and kind of shop in that library. So that's a neat component of the Step Up Day tomorrow. So on my report, we have an in-house elementary math PD that's being run this summer by Mr. O'Neill. We got a grant from the state to support high-quality instruction during some summer planning. So that's going to happen at mid-August. It's August 13th, 14th, and 15th. We have 11 teachers signed up, and Mr. O'Neill and I have been planning and thinking about his work with being trained in Edgenuity, the math curriculum that we use. So I'm super excited about that opportunity for our teachers.
It's K through 12?
It's K through 6.
Just K through 6.
Yep. I did offer it to our 7th and 8th grade math teacher, Mrs. Petty, but she's away.
Okay.
But yep, so it'll be we have almost all of the classroom teachers, but 2 who will be away, and then we have some of our special educators and 1 instructional assistant who's going to be taking part. Let's see. Mrs. Pratt and I have reached out to all the teachers who took part in the literacy coaching cycle for some feedback and reflection on the year working in those 6-week cycles with Mrs. Pratt. So this is something that we started this year. Part of her role as the literacy specialist was to build upon, obviously, her work with students individually, but also to support the teachers in implementing the Readers and Writers Workshop. So we wanted to really get a sense of what teachers needed and what they saw was benefits of coaching is also some challenges. So she and I will spend some time reviewing that feedback as she plans for next year as well. And then the last piece I wanted to talk about was last week on Tuesday, I was at WPI with Mr. O'Neill attending the Massachusetts Science and Math Institute. So for the past year, I've been taking part in the Ambassadors Program for the science standards. And we've had our own task team where we've been writing science tasks, which are like mini lessons related to the new standards that are relevant to students' worlds, and also really kind of push their thinking and scientific practices. Mrs. Dubuque was part of that team as well. So we had an opportunity to go and attend the presentations by other ambassadors, and I also presented twice. And there was probably almost 600 teachers there from all across the state, and it was a really great experience to be able to kind of put North Brookfield on the map on the state level. So I presented one on the way we did our process of creating these tasks in our team, and I presented with a math teacher from Hopkinton, and then one of our tasks was selected to be presented. So I presented that with a colleague from Holyoke. So yeah, that's
Congrats. Thank you.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Mr. Shaw has his facilities report, which is basically it's time to gear up for the summer cleaning and maintenance. And they're gonna start cleaning in the elementary school and work from the kindergarten all the way up. And then into the middle school, high school building. The other summer projects are the Sheriff's Department community service workers are confirmed to come paint the elementary school hallway starting in the main entrance. Amount dependent on available workers, and I'd be really actually interested in colors choices. Have we heard anything about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all about the colors.
I've had some questions about the soccer field, why the soccer field wasn't used for, field day, but they're going to be repairing the soccer field again this year. Not again, but this year. The parking lot, we'll get the lots painted and also preventative maintenance on the HVAC system. So just some information about our heating expenses this year, and that the fact that the elementary school with the new roof definitely had an impact, so we were able to spend less on oil. And just I guess he's glad the elementary school project is done, and thanks to all his staff, for all they do to keep the school clean and running every day. And they do a wonderful job with all these journeying children. And then Mrs. O'Hara has her technology report as well. Probably the biggest thing on June 12th, which was last week, Acuity will be coming to the district to complete an assessment on the district infrastructure, the technology infrastructure. And this will give us important information on the reliability and improvement of our network.
I just had one question for you. Is there any positions that we're hiring for in elementary school? We talked about the high school, what vacancies we had there, but there's none. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So moving on, old business budget update. So this was FY20 budget update.
Yeah, so I did cover some of it in the town meeting. So in terms of FY20, we know what the budget is. It's, 2% increase. The job now is really about setting up in our system FY20 and setting it up so we can begin doing the purchasing and other things we need to do, while at the same time closing out FY19. So this is a extremely busy time for, mostly for Sheila LeBlanc, because she really has to do both. But it's busy for all of us because it's, there's a lot of closeout, but also preparation. Once we have FY18 sort of budgeted appropriately in there, then the purchasing can happen. And as we commented on earlier through the financial update, what we budget and what we spend can, we make our best estimate, but like, for example, for a new teacher in our budget, we put into the budget a master's step 6. That's kind of the midline cost for a teacher. Comes out to a little over $55,000. That's what we budget for them because we don't have, if we have an open position, we don't have a person. So now it's a matter of hiring, and if we hire someone lower on the pay scale, it gives us some flexibility in the budget. If we hire someone higher on the pay scale, so those are the pluses and minuses that come up early in the budget year, is mostly around staffing. Some about purchasing, if teachers wanted to buy, buy a new French textbooks or something, and we estimated the cost when we started budgeting at $55 a textbook, and we get them for $35 a those are some differences. So that's all gonna happen in the next few weeks, because we really have to be ready to go for July 1st for purchasing. So the closeout and setup is all happening. Next week Sheila will be bunkered in with the guy from, the company is Infinite Visions. They are a financial package software group. It's the group the company the town uses, so we use obviously that software. So he'll be here helping close out and set up. So it should be an interesting week in my office with Sheila. So that's a lot happening, but.
Does she still like iced tea with blueberry?
Iced tea with lemon only.
Lemon only,
Yeah,
switched, all right.
that's what she's.
If anyone wants to bring her any next week.
So that's really the big idea with budget in terms of where we're at with getting that up and running.
And then we have 2 standing subcommittees which need members, which I think we already have members on our subcommittees.
Yeah, we've had them for the last year. I didn't know if the committee wanted to look at reviewing that. We have a policy subcommittee and a negotiations subcommittee. Those are standing committees that the committee has all the time. Policy. Policy has been, this year was Kristen and Maria, and negotiations was Elizabeth and Maria.
And I'm more than happy, actually, if anyone else would like to
If
step up
anybody's
and
I think it's
be one
something
of
we
those.
should nominate, vote.
Okay. So why don't we start with policy committee? So is there anyone who is interested in being nominated for that?
You know you want
So
to.
I'm getting a sense from Kristen, perhaps with the new addition to her family,
I
she
know.
might like to take a step back.
That's what I was kind of thinking, just because I
Yep.
don't know what his schedule's going to be like, or making sure Chris is ready to step in when I need to step out.
It's a long time to
So-
be here.
Oh
for this
yeah,
meeting.
exactly.
Yeah, why don't we,
Ready.
yeah,
Mhm.
why don't we do that, cause then we can just have private conversations about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
We'll
alright,
table
so
it
we'll
for
talk
now.
about it in August. Alright, moving on to superintendent's evaluation, which we did before the end of the year this year. So, Mrs. O'Hara will be happy with this. So every year, the superintendents are required to be evaluated by the school committees. We have the form that's used statewide, and, oops, what, did I miss something?
It
It's
was
not in
added
order.
after, so I kind of
Okay.
stuck it in there,
Alright.
about where it goes. Sorry.
So anyway, all of the school committee, looked at the evaluation, I did the primary writing. There are 4 main, standards, thank you. So curriculum, instruction, assessment, evaluation, actually 5. Evaluation, data informed decision making. Overall, we rated Mr. Lind proficient. We appreciate his hard work. We appreciate some of the, for instance, the first standard curriculum. Mr. Lind has worked to put processes in place that ensure effective and meaningful evaluation of all staff and administrators. And he has worked to create a solid mentorship program for new staff, as well as creating a schedule that allows veteran staff to collaborate to build the best curriculum for our students. And as well, Mr. Lind has worked with Ms. Powers to develop professional development that builds on the skills and experience of staff. All of these processes have been informed by the most current data and with the goal of creating the best learning environment with the highest expectations for all of our students. This is public information if people are really interested in reading the whole thing. Every year the superintendent sets goals for themselves, and we rated Mr. Lind on his goals. His first goal was in the 2018-2019 school year, students at NBES will increase their time on learning in the area of science, technology, engineering, and math. We did rate that one significant progress. Unfortunately, due to some situation with staffing, there was not a permanent teacher at NBES, STEM teacher this year, but they did build a makerspace was built, and there is a permanent STEM teacher who will begin next year, so certainly feel confident that that goal will be met. Second goal was that the superintendent will work to develop and or implement a variety of safety-related practices, which that goal was met. Most particularly, the crisis plan was updated. I worked with local public safety and other staff members to update the district crisis plan. Staff and students at both schools received ALICE training, and Go buckets were deployed in all the classrooms and areas. We were fortunate that portions of funds from the rural schools grant was used to update physical security at the elementary school, so the brand new doors, and also with the help of a grant from our own North Brookfield Police Department, able to install video cameras. The third goal, superintendent will lead the process of developing a renewed district improvement plan. So that also made significant progress. Actually, the district improvement plan group met today for the first meeting, and the goal is to take all of the work from the current committees that exist and have existed for several years, the language literacy team, the school change leadership team, the wellness committee, the instructional leadership team, the PBIS team, all of those have been already, as well as people from the school councils, the PTO, and the Teachers Association, and they'll build on the work that's already been done to create this district improvement plan. So again, made great progress, and no doubt that that goal will be met as well. Fourth goal, superintendent will meet with the senior high school administration and staff to develop and implement a blended learning model that supports student engagement and learning. So you've heard us speak of edgenuity, and that, so the blended learning is traditional classroom teaching along with online learning, and that was modeled this year or piloted this year and is, will be continued next year. And the last goal was with the elementary schools administration and staff to develop and implement plans to ensure student growth in reading of at least 1 year as measured by a pre-post test model using the benchmark assessment system, which also that goal also was met this year. So overall, we appreciate all the hard work Mr. Lynn has done for North Brookfield Public School. He arrives here very early in the morning, and I've seen him here at 7:30 in the morning myself. He also comes to many of our events after hours. He is always in contact with the school committee, and I'm sure with the administrators and staff. He sends out voluminous communication every week. So anything you ever want to know, you read those emails and you will know. And I also, in particular, he has worked very hard in very difficult budget circumstances to try and maintain the best for our students, for learning environment for our students. And in particular, we wanted to mention, we really appreciate his efforts this year to work with the school committee and area superintendents to advocate for Chapter 70 reform on the state level. He took part in our school committee forum back in March, and he has worked with the Rural Schools Coalition, and he also traveled to the State House twice with myself and Mrs. Malad this past year. So we look forward to another great year. Does anyone else have any comments? Okay, so, but did anyone else have any other comments?
You're doing a great job, keep it up.
Yeah. All right, so we do have to vote on it, so I need a motion to accept this evaluation.
Motion to accept Mr. Lynn's evaluation.
I second it.
All in favor?
I abstain because I wasn't here for most of it.
Yep, that's absolutely fine. So 4 yeas and 1 abstention from Mr.
It's not like I should explain my
So-
abstention.
You do not need to explain your abstention.
You're fine.
I'm gonna ask you to
Yep.
sign there. Now we'll
Just
vote
did, you
on
said
it.
you weren't here for
Yeah,
most of it.
just enter it. Some people
Flunk
do.
my kid.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Rich.
I appreciate the feedback. I'm hoping that we can continue the work.
Sorry, please, that's fine.
I think that's it. That's the plan, is to continue the work.
All right. So we did, yep, okay, so,
As you know, we've overdrawn the out-of-district tuition and transportation due to additional costs that we incurred during the year. Town put together a special town meeting, voted some money to a sped stabilization account. We have another request for tuition and transportation for the June 25th warrant. There may be an additional request after this to close out the school year, but I think this may be the end for this school year. So the total is $14,020.64, and we need a motion and approval to.
I motion to approve, requesting $14,020.64 from the special ed stabilization account.
I second.
all in favor? Thank you.
And that's coming down the line,
And
there's
this is what we
multiple
all sign,
places
right?
to
Yeah.
sign, Sheila has it all tabbed.
Oh, is there more than one?
So please check
Sorry.
those to make sure you
Well,
hit them
just
all.
keep it back, I guess I'll.
She'll yell at me if they're not signed right. I don't want that.
Sign as the, thank you.
The
Yeah,
next
there's
item, if you don't mind, if you guys are signed,
I'll just
I'll
sign
keep going.
Yep,
Please
please
do.
do.
Alright. So, as you remember, we adjusted the food services director position at the end of last year. We had a shared food services director with Quabog. It didn't work out. Decided to create a stipend position for a food services director and assistant food services director. Well, they've done an amazing job. They did a great job at the end of last year, but they had a full year this year, and our food services program for the first time in a number of years is self-sustained. At the end of last year and the year before, the school committee actually had to approve funds to make up for the losses, and they were significant. This year, they have enough money to be ready for next year, and to actually replace some equipment that they need to replace. They've done a fabulous job. So one of the things we talked about when we created this stipend position, because we didn't, the way we designed it was we got an hourly rate for our previous food service director and estimated the number of hours it would take someone to do this in addition to being a cafeteria manager. They had applied. With the idea that we would come back at the end of the year and say, that worked, because it's a lot of work, and we want it to be fair. And the only thing that the union and Mrs. Ryan felt was that because it was based on the salary, and salaries tend to go up, that she would appreciate a 2% increase each year to this stipend, her and Mrs. Holmes. That would mirror what the salaries would be, for example, typically. And I thought that was very fair. That she's gonna put in the same hours next year doing the same kind of work. But her, cost of living goes up, so I'm recommending that we increase this stipend for the 2020 school year by 2%, both stipends. It comes out to a total of probably about $600 or $700 total for both stipends for it to go up by the 2%. I did talk to the union, and the thought from their perspective was, let's just approve it for this year in a side letter, because at the end next year we actually go into negotiations with them because their contract ends and it can be all part of negotiations. So that's my recommendation, to increase the stipend for the 2020 school year to, for the food services director stipend, $12,560, and the assistant food services director stipend to increase to $5,004.
What are the stipends now?
What's that?
What are they now? What
Like
is
what
the
their
stipend
current-
now? What's the current stipend?
I think it's 12,100 for the food services director and like 4,900 for the.
So it's not much
It's
difference.
2%.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really small money. And I think it's fair, to be honest with you, for it to go up 2%, like any other salary normally would. We can negotiate, during negotiations, we can figure out that, is it gonna mirror what the staff gets in their contract, does it need to be something different? That's for negotiations, but I think for this purposes, for it to go up 2% next year is fair.
I appreciate how hard they've worked. We were in a serious position there when I first came on the school committee, but it was something like $14,000, right?
Last year, the school committee approved over $40,000 to make up the losses.
$40,000, so
Yeah.
through their hard work, the cafeterias are now
In the black.
in the black. They have enough money to start the next year.
Good.
Well, I make a motion to approve the stipends, $12,560 for the food services director and $5,004 for the assistant food service director.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, it's much appreciated and deserved. So, Maria, told you I'd try to stay on top of this. We have an overnight field trip request. It is the Nature's Classroom trip that will be happening next October for our 6th graders. This is always a hard one because you have to approve it months in advance. So I think it's 3 months in advance. If we did it in August, we wouldn't meet that. It would be 2 months in advance. So I reminded Mr. O'Neill, and then he reminded me by getting the paperwork in. So I would ask that you approve the overnight field trip to Nature's Classroom. It'll be October 15th through the 18th, which is very typical for what we do for the grade 6 students to go on their Nature's Classroom trip.
So just need a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the request for the Nature's Classroom field trip for October 15th through 18th of 2019.
I second.
All in favor?
And the Southern Worcester County Education Collaborative, their quarterly report is out, as you know, you need to review and approve the collaborative's quarterly and end of the year reports. Collaborative is a group that we're a member of. The purpose of the collaborative is to work together in a regional way to provide services and programs for students, particularly students with special education needs. So they provide, that's part of the regs, is to make sure that school committees have access to their quarterly and end-of-the-year reports, and that's what this is their third quarter report.
So we need a motion to approve the third quarter report, unless, does anyone have any questions or anything about it?
Does she review it? Let us know that, yeah, I wouldn't know if this was written correctly or covered what happened.
It's pretty accurate, yeah.
Okay. Defer to the person who does it.
I don't write it.
No,
but
I mean, like,
yeah.
does it?
Yep, I checked the
Yeah,
numbers.
so the way the collaborative works is they hire an executive director, and the superintendents are actually the board of directors or the school committee for the collaborative. So I'm actually a board member, and I attend monthly board meetings, much like this, for the collaborative, and yeah, it represents what they're doing. They're doing good work over there. Really helpful.
So we need a motion to accept the third quarter report?
I make a motion to accept the third quarter report from the Southern Worcester County Educational Collaborative.
Second it?
All in favor? Thank you.
And then lastly, just need approval on a couple of different donations that have come in during the end of the year here. One is for the grade 8 Washington DC trip, and I believe that is from North Brookfield Savings Bank. For $250, and then we also got a $50 donation to the phys ed department from it's from you. Which is, I knew that, but it just kind of struck me as weird and meaning to say.
Right, yeah.
You know, as a result of the 6th grade barbecue, correct? Or for the 6th grade barbecue.
Well, yeah, so the 6th grade barbecue, we had some extra money that was raised, and so we donated to both art and to phys ed. My donation just makes up the difference for some shipping, but, so I'm going to abstain in this particular vote.
I don't think we should accept it.
Money laundering at its best.
Yeah, so we need a motion to accept those two donations.
I make a motion to accept the donation of $250 from North Brookfield Savings Bank, and also a donation of $50 for the grade 6 barbecue.
Second.
All in favor? Okay.
Yeah,
And I
so
abstain.
I'll take 2 abstentions.
I feel like I should have abstained.
And
I didn't know if you raised your
that
hand.
is it. We have a lot of sort of end of the year paperwork to.
Oh, we're still good, it's not even 8:30, so we need, if we're all,
I know, it's pretty early.
Mr. Lind, we can get a motion to adjourn.
Oh, I like that one.
Yep.
I'll do that one. That's my favorite.
You gotta say it though.
Oh, I move that we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Alright. So we will not be back until August, so I know that our fans out in the LPAC world, it's gonna be a long summer break.
So for the summer, do we come back, like for hiring stuff, or has nothing to do?
Yeah, no.